Good day, everybody. Well, today we have somewhat of a fascinating subject. For some, not for all, but the important thing is to best understand what the workplace is like. And so what we see today, this is about compensation and some of the compensation trends, is there's four general trends that we see in compensation. First is the movement from full-time to part-time. For the first time in history, less than 50% of people employed have a full-time job. It's never happened before. And part of that simply is the escalating cost of full-time employment. And that escalating cost includes aspects such as retirement, healthcare. In fact, many people are now working less than 30 hours, which is the threshold that some may have as far as health insurance. The cost has been so significant that we see a number of individuals who still work 40 hours a week, but they do it in 2 or 3 jobs in order to get the 40 hours. Unfortunately, they don't get benefits. Which leads us to the second trend, which is the escalating costs for salaries and the escalating costs of benefits have meant that more entities are spending money on benefits than they are on salaries. In essence, when the monies to allocate to employees are being allocated, they have to go to things like the benefit aspect. So there's less for salaries. And I'll give you a statistic in a little bit that talks about how this has really shaped our market. In fact, after World War II, if you hired an employee and paid him $1, you had to add another 5%, 5 cents to the dollar for benefits. Now it's over 30%. It's about 35 cents for every dollar in non-salary compensation. So benefits are consuming a considerable portion of a person's overall compensation. And these benefits include things like Social Security, some health, if you're lucky enough to be provided it, but also liability insurance, risk management or workers' compensation is another one, unemployment insurance, FMLA insurance if they offer it, short-term disability insurance if they offer it. All those insurances great for employees, but certainly come at a cost. So the first and second issues in compensation trends is the decrease from full-time to part-time and also the escalating costs of benefits. The third is the movement from what we call fixed salaries to variable salaries. Typically, in years past, people would get a monthly income, and they got that monthly income whether company did well or not, but they were guaranteed a monthly income. We often call those salaried workers. And now, as I mentioned, as you go from full-time to part-time, same with fixed versus variables. People are getting less fixed salaries, even if you're full-time, and you're getting a variable salary. In other words, your salary is based on how much you produce, how many hours you work, the value that you bring to the organization. And so the organizations are doing this because they don't want to tie themselves up into an income that they have to produce to give to an employee if the employee is likewise not producing that same income within the organization. So variable pay is becoming much more the norm. And the fourth trend really is what I call the latest knowledges and skills. And because we're moving to part-time employment, because we're moving to variable pay, organizations, managers want employees who have the latest and greatest skills. Since the average person is at a job about 6 years or less, then as soon as those skills or knowledges are used up, are no longer valued, then the manager wants to get another employee. So there's less loyalty on both sides, but that is an incentive to employees to make sure that you increase and ensure that your skills are relevant. So one statistic, since 1973, an average person's pay has only went up about 10%. That's the average non-supervisory middle-class job has only received about a 10% in real money increase over the since 1973. And so you can see that the wages have been largely stagnant. And that also tells us that non-supervisory middle-class jobs are certainly not the ones that are paying the wages that can sustain a rising standard of living. Hope this helps give you an idea about compensation trends. We'll certainly talk more as the weeks progress. Everybody enjoy the day.